Evening, everyone. 5:53 on Tuesday evening, and this is your closing comment. I'm not going to go through all of the economic news. They were generally misses, meaning that they were bad news being good news for interest rates, which were down sharply. So, in that vein, that's all I have to say about them in particular. But tomorrow we do have some very important numbers. We have mortgage index, which will probably be down. It was down 4.2% last week. We have at 8:15 the ADP employment change. Consensus is 195. Last week's number was 324. At 8:30 we have second quarter GDP second estimate, also the deflator, also July advanced trade balance, which will be a negative in the area of about 90 billion, and advanced retail inventories and wholesale inventories. After the open at 10 o'clock, we have July pending home sales, and at 10:30 we have weekly crude inventories. There are two sets of crude inventories, and the first one of them is already out today, and it was a huge draw. I believe the number was 15 million barrels. It was supposed to be 2 million barrels. And this just shows you what those jackasses in Washington are doing. Clearly, they are not buying back any oil for the SPR, which is now about 40% full. And they're speculating the same way that they did with Solyndra, the same way that Biden has done picking winners, and clearly they have no clue. Okay, Dow up just under 300, Nasdaq up 238, S&P up 64, Russell up 25, 2653. So in order, biggest gainer was Nasdaq, second biggest gainer was S&P, third biggest gainer was the Russell, and the Dow came in last at up 0.85%, and the Dow transports were down again. Volume was a little bit better, 4.7, which is about average for this time of the year. I don't know if it supports a 2-day move like we've had, but advanced declines were 9-2 on the New York and 5-2 on Nasdaq. So we'll have to see. The chart on the screen, I'm going to do some backpacking here, my patting on my own back. I've been talking about this. This is the gold. It looks like it's starting back to the upside. It is heavily supported in here. It's also heavily supported by lower interest rates. The 10-year is down 25 basis points this week. So you can imagine that we've seen some nice action in the gold. It's the same situation I pointed out. This was a $420 move down. This was a $460 move down. This one is a high of 2085, and the low has been 1900. Actually, yeah, 1900. And so this one has really been minute compared to all the others. It's uh, relative strength, and the moving average has gone back to the upside. Looks like the MACD is going to roll back to the upside. It's the same exact thing that we have in the silver. A much smaller pullback, but I think that there's more of a short position in the silver, and I think it has more room to run. I mean, we were up $1.50 last week. So while gold was up 1%, silver was up 6.6%. The other one I want to show you is the copper. It is my favorite. It really it hasn't gotten down to where I wanted, which was about 374. We did come awfully close to that 2 weeks ago, bouncing off the 200-week moving average to the upside. We have yet to break out, but I did trade in some RYN Rainier for a small loss if you don't count the 2.5 years of dividends. Um, for Rio Tinto yesterday paid, I believe it was 61.32. Let's see, 61, yeah, 61.32. I was going to buy and write. The dividend is almost 11%, although it is variable. So I'm going to write against it. But this copper really looks great. I had a subscriber ask me in the Discord room for a couple of bull spreads. The one that I gave him was BITX, the September 9s to 11s. They were about, I believe, about 70 cents of spread. And with today's move up in Bitcoin, they closed actually well in the money. Um, the BITX closed at 11.65, up $1.39. So that trade, he can close it out whenever he wants for that $2 spread. So that's a nice trade. Also, I gave him the COPX, which is the COPX is the International Copper Miners, and that too was up today. And I'm probably going to go with the Rio Tinto, as I said, as a buy and write, but I think it has a little ways to go to the upside before that. Okay, earnings late after the close. We had HPQ, that is Hewlett Packard. That's Hewlett. Let's see. That's Hewlett Packard Incorporated. It had a close of about 31.37, and after the numbers, which were a miss on revenue and a slight beat on earnings, it went from that 31.37 straight down to 29.21. Last is 29.64, down $1.69 or 5.4. The other Hewlett Packard, which is HPE, Hewlett Packard Enterprises, same kind of situation, although it had a beat both top and bottom. It had closed 1684 and actually made a new high on the day at 1737, and then turned down and made a new low on the day at 1602. Right now it's trading 1668, and that is down only 11 cents or 0.66. Box, one that I was very bullish on a while back, uh, beat both top and bottom line, but gave horrendous guidance. Stock closed 30.80 at 4 o'clock. After the earnings, it traded straight down to 26.50. Last is 28.19. That's down 234 or 7.6. And last but not least, we have Umbrella, a beat top and bottom line, but also horrendous guidance going forward on both earnings and revenues. The stock closed 75.78 and traded immediately down to 63.02. Last is 63.81. That's down 8.72 or 12%. So now you know what's coming tomorrow. And, I hope everyone had as good a day as I did. Have a good one, folks.